Hey guys, ThunderX Sniper here coming at you with my very first modern review video over Shadow of War. Spoiler warning just for those of you who have not played the campaign yet. And I would also like to apologize for my god-awful speech, so be prepared to hear some stuttering and the word a lot. So now that intro is out of the way, let's get to it. So let's start out with gameplay. We're going to start out with stealth, combat, ranged, and beast. So, the stealth gameplay is amazing. I love it. It flows really well with the game, and it works well. The game mechanics just function perfectly. I rarely ever get a glitch. Actually, I don't think I've ever had any glitches that had anything to do with stealth, ranged, or combat. Um, so the stealth gameplay works really well. I really enjoy it. A lot of fun. It's for me, it's probably one of my favorite parts about the whole game. Out of all the combat, it is my favorite. Out of all the categories of combat, is the way to word it. Stealth is my favorite. Ranged gameplay functions pretty much almost exactly like Shadow of Mordor. It works really well. There's some new abilities put in there that help quite a bit. It's really enjoyable, and it's one of my most used uh, one of the most used ways of killing captains. I feel like you really need to be decent with the ranged weapons in order to take advantage of taking down captains and war chiefs and overlords. The combat gameplay is very well done. I really enjoy it a lot, and um, it's the difficulty is a little bit higher in it compared to Shadow of Mordor, because late game Shadow of Mordor, not even late game, like halfway through the game, combat was pretty easy. You could take on waves of enemies and for the most part be fine. At least I did. So having it a little bit more tough was was really nice, and but it's not, it's not too tough. It's just enough to notice a difference. So the beast have grown and expanded drastically when it comes to differences compared to Shadow of Mordor. They have more abilities, more perks. There's, you know, variation between the beast. So much fun. Especially the drakes being the brand new beast added to the game. They are the most fun. I did not expect to enjoy them as much as I did, just for the fact that I'm not much of a beast person in this game. So they are a lot of fun, just being able to fly and rain fire down on top of your enemies. And they're lots of fun. I highly recommend, getting on a drake as soon as possible. And even when on a drake, I mean, just being able to soar through the sky, just appreciating the amazing graphics. They're just so good. So I really think Monolith outdid themselves when it came to Beast and all the ways of combat this time around. They really did a really good job. So thumbs up to that for sure. Up next is captains and branding, which has been expanded upon. Captains have been expanded upon widely with their strengths and weaknesses. I mean, I like to think it's more organized the way you view them, and there's more of a variety. There's fear of pinning, which doesn't always mean they're going to run in terror now. They can have a fear of something and can just be dazed by it instead of running in terror. There's, more things for them to get enraged by. There's more immunities. There's just more strengths and perks in general. So I really like how they expanded on the captains, which makes them a lot harder to fight as well. Um, but not too hard, of course. If you take on a captain that's above your level by a good amount, you're gonna have a hard time. So I don't recommend, being level 30 and saying, hey, level, 50 something captain, I can do that. I mean, you can, but it can also be very frustrating, and you can still fail. I mean, the odds are against you, but, if you're feeling lucky or if you think you can do it, go for it. The ranking systems within the captains, of course, it goes, grunt to captain to war chief to overlord, which is a lot better this time around. I like the added in overlords, and I feel like it's a bit tougher to get them to war chief if you do not own the fort. I will expand on that later. So, branding captains, though, I feel like a bit more important this time around. You could get through Shadow of Mordor with branding 5 captains and then making those 5 captains war chiefs and then just sending them into the very last mission you use them on and be done with the game. This time around, I think branding is a lot more important, and it'll make the game flow a lot easier, but without being too easy for you. Depending on how much you brand and not brand can variate the difficulty. So I think they did a really good job with making branding a bit more important, I think. And so becoming a war chief is also a little bit more complicated as well. I will be doing a review video. Not a review video, excuse me. I will be doing a video over the, I don't know how to put it, but best way I can think of is the politics or the government, ranking system of Shadow of War, and how it can affect your gameplay differently, and show, Fort Assault and Fort Defense, and expand on those in more detail. So keep an eye out for that. But speaking of Fort Assaults, they are the best thing. If not the story, the Fort Assaults have to be the best thing about this game. I love them so much. Just being able to, have that huge battle, just storming the castle feeling, it's there. It really is. So I cannot, I can't even begin to explain right now how great those really are. I mean, you get to upgrade your assault army and deal with the upgrades of the defense of the enemy overlord. And then, once you do take over the fort, you have to defend that fort. So I really enjoy it, and even when you're done with the campaign and you've taken all the regions, you can conquer your friends' forts for fun, or go into the ranked playlist and conquer random people's forts, and it's a lot of fun. But of course you're gonna have to deal with their fort defenses, which is our next topic. Fort defense is a lot harder compared to assaulting. The whole Shadow Wars, which is Act 4, is literally just fort defense. You have to do somewhere around 15, give or take a few, fort defenses. And they can be, either really hard, really easy, kind of decent. It really just depends on how well you have your upgrades and what the game sends against you. I mean, I'd have rounds where they wouldn't even breach the walls. I'd have rounds where they would never get past the first checkpoint. I had a fort I lost Cirith Ungol twice just because I died in battle. So it's they can be a lot of fun, but they can also be frustrating. But I still, in the end, I do really enjoy them. Just not, you know, constantly doing them one after another. That's something I didn't care for.
Let us for a moment entertain the
Now, after
fantasy
doing
that you do
these
have in this
fort assaults
fortress.
or fort defenses
There
or
are countless
captain,
thousands
war
of
chief,
orcs in
overlord hunting,
Mordor,
you're bound to get a
and
lot of loot.
every one of
The
them will
loot,
come for
you will
you.
get the loot based on the level of the captain, war chief, etc. that you kill. And then its rarity will also depend on the level. If you kill a legendary captain, you'll get legendary rarity. If you kill a common, you'll most likely get common, and if you kill an epic, you will most likely get epic. But within there's rare that can jump around. You know, commons can give you rare, or epics can give you rare. But you almost, to my knowledge, you will never get a legendary without killing a legendary. So the gear system is improved greatly from Shadow of Mordor. You know, it's not just getting some runes and putting it on your sword, blade, and bow. You now get the actual bow, or an actual sword, or an actual knife, or actual armor, or a hood, or a rune for the One Ring. Now, it's very, very, very how am I trying to phrase this? It's a lot more complex compared to Shadow of Mordor because these gears now come with most of them, everything other than common. My bad. Uh, comes with abilities now, like when your might is full, your sword can deal cursed or poison or fire, or you know your armor you take 91% less fire damage, or I think my cloak reduces poison speed by 91% currently. So, you know, stuff like that. You know, your ring can help your focus drain slower and stuff like that. All kinds of things. So it's a lot more complex, you know, and so everything, you know, other than common, they will come with an unlocked ability most of the time. And then there's challenges on the armor that you can use to unlock more abilities with it. So, once you do those challenges, you'll get that other ability, and the armor will actually change a little bit in detail. You know, it might add some more design or lining, or you know, some gold, you know, detail on the armor, stuff like that. So I really enjoy it more than I thought it would. You know, there's just sometimes, for me personally, it's annoying that your armor does not change with you in cutscenes. I don't care for that. And you're, you know, you can have a really, really good armor, but then, you know, you might have like a red cloak, but like a bluish, weird looking bluish chest armor, and you know, stuff just can just mismatch and just not look good together. But in good time, I mean, you can get that stuff that matches really well. So you really have to make that choice. Do I care about how I look, or do I care about stats? You know, most people are going to go with the stats, but every now and then, you know, you might throw on that full set of gear that matches with its partners perfectly and stuff. So it really just depends on the person. Um, so armor is very well done. It's it's got a lot of variety, and it can vary depending on the player. Now, every fort controls a region, and there are 5 regions with forts. Only 4 of them you actually get to customize and control overlords and war chiefs in, but you do get to have control of captains in all of these. The maps and regions are much, much more larger and have more variety of landscape compared to Shadow of Mordor, which I greatly am appreciative of. So that's good to know, and even just depending on what tribe your overlord is, and can change these regions. You know, if you have a feral tribe overlord, there'll be more beasts and stuff active in the region. If you have machine tribe, there'll be more workers and slaves, it looks like, and so on. So I really do enjoy the variety and change within these regions greatly. Taking fortresses is only a portion of the campaign, though. There is, of course, the story, and I cannot even begin to explain how well and perfectly crafted the story is. I mean, if somebody said that this was something written by Tolkien himself and just hidden away and they found it to turn it into a video game, I wouldn't even be surprised at all. It's got so much. It's got betrayal. It's got, you know, a just tiny like drop of romance in there, like barely. It's got, you know, friendship, action, you know, sadness. There's certain moments where I would almost be depressed because I'm one of those people who lets themselves get entranced into the world so deeply. So I'm so happy the game is now canon. You know, I'm glad they made it part of the official universe, and it was just so well done. I can't even begin to explain. And not just, you know, the missions are great too, you know. I'm not just talking about the cinematics and stories. I mean, the missions themselves can be so much fun, and there's barely any missions. I mean, there's a few missions, you know, there's always, in main single player games, there's going to be those few missions that are frustrating and annoying and I don't care to play. But either way, they're still very well done. And I'm so impressed with the writing and the story with this game. I mean, Monolith really outdid themselves with this. It's just perfect. It's everything you could ask for in a story, if you ask me at least. So, I really enjoyed it. It was amazing. It was just so good. So good. Alright, now that we're coming to a close on the video, I want to address the last main subject. And this is a very controversial topic within the game, and video games currently in general. And that's microtransactions. Now, personally, microtransactions for me is a very it depends situation. You know, if it's a pay to win thing or a pay to play thing, I don't like them, you know, they shouldn't be in the game. But if it's something like Rainbow Six Siege, you know, it's purely a shortcut or cosmetics, you know, I don't mind them. I don't see a problem with them. You know, it's your choice. It's not going to make a difference in gameplay. And in Shadow of War's situation, it is purely a shortcut. That's all they are. We've had shortcut microtransactions in video games for a while now. Battlefield's had them. You know, where you could get shortcuts on the guns and your classes and stuff. So it's not like this is a brand new thing. I don't know why everybody's making a big deal about it all of a sudden in Shadow of War. I don't think it's fair, but that's my opinion. And I have played this whole game without microtransactions. I did buy Gold Edition, but I haven't used any special microtransactions in the game at all. The only thing I've done in the marketplace is use the currency Mirian, which is easy as hell to get. I mean, like, I practically roll in this stuff. I've just got stashes of it for my character. All I have is Mirian. There's nothing else to spend it on other than upgrades, which are very cheap. So yeah, I'm gonna buy the silver chest for more captains. And even then, most of the time, oh, I don't care for the captain. I'll scrap him for the item, then I'll scrap the item, and I get Mirian back. So I don't think microtransactions were that big of a deal in this game at all. You don't have to buy them. you can do it if you want. They're really in the game for the people who are impatient, or for people who work like 60 hours a week and they may only get 2 or 3 hours to play, or an hour a day, and they don't want to wait forever to get all these captains and level them up and all that. They just want to pay for a legendary or mithril chest and get it done faster. There's no really like, it's not like it's set to where you have to buy them or else you're not going to make any progress. It's not like that huge of a grind. The microtransactions really just, they're there for a shortcut. That's all they're here for. They don't affect the gameplay barely, like, at all. Alright? All they do is make things easier and faster. That's all they do. Nothing else. There's no paywall in this game. The only thing that you have to pay for a difference in gameplay will be the DLC storylines, like in Shadow of Mordor and in many other single player games like Skyrim or Dragon Age Inquisition or Fallout, so I think they're completely fine, and anybody who's choosing not to buy this game because there's microtransactions in them is being petty, and they're missing out on a great time. So that's all I'm gonna say about it, and that's just my opinion, but it's a touchy situation, and I'm just gonna end it there. So, overall review about the game. I love it. I mean, it's almost everything I could ask for in a single player video game, for me at least, and it's got great story, it's got great, stealth, combat, ranged, it's got all the RPG aspects I want in a game, it's got all the open world aspects I want in the game. It's not, so restricted behind paywalls like other games. So I personally love it. It's everything I wanted. I couldn't have asked for any more. This game is just perfect to my standards, and I really hope more people get to play this game, and I hope more people feel the same way as I do. This game was just great, and out of a 1 to 10 rating, 10 being amazing, I'd have to give it a 9.5 at its current state, just because there are some bugs and glitches here and there, and there are a couple things I don't like, but there's no such thing as a perfect game. There's always going to be one thing inside of a game you're not going to like. So, but overall, 9.5 out of 10. That's pretty good to me. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to click